Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic. How would you feel about a TV show similar to Undercover Boss, but instead of companies they secretly infiltrate and film police forces? The only people that believe Undercover Boss is real are people who never worked retail. Hate that show with a passion. Out-of-touch boss in dollar store disguise pretends to be poor. Then shockingly blesses two workers with a pittance for being able to use their shitty life for content. Fuck off. Honestly. Here's a car for the one who had the best sad story, the rest of you can fuck off. The boss always pretends to be so personally affected but they never actually change anything that matters. It ends up being a total circle jerk. Lol, everyone has to know Undercover Boss is fake though, right? Like some guy shows up to your work with a camera crew, you know exactly what's happening. It also just doesn't fit with the whole Undercover Boss premise, that someone who doesn't normally get their hands dirty, down in the weeds, gets a turn to see what's going on the ground level. For this to work with police officers, I guess we'd have to see what police critics putting on uniforms and working a shift. Holy cats, that could go all sorts of wrong. WWE, Undercover Boss, so that's 2 down, thanks internet. Lol, the police union would never let that happen. And then we learn that Chief Wiggum was not an exaggeration. A journalist in France did this. https://world/2020/sep/sep/03. Surprise surprise, a ton of racism and a predilection towards solving things violently. Guess what happens in America? https://n.m.wiki/wiki/Adrian_Schoolcraft. They'll lock you in a fucking psych ward. Gosh, if someone wants to pull this off today, just leak it online, get the footage uploaded everywhere, then run away and let society sort it out. I imagine it would be much harder for the police to keep it under wraps too, with so much more scrutiny. The police will get away with it, but it'll be another dent in the armor. Something is going to give eventually. TBH, I'd rather see an undercover lobbyist bribing politicians. Let's find out how little money it takes for your local congressperson to sell out to corporations. It's so ridiculous how little money it takes. They bribed Reggie Bush to go run a football at USC, more than most of these congresspeople are getting. Well, we had live PD. Also, Undercover Boss is fake scripted nonsense just like the rest of reality TV. I liked live PD. Rip in peace Live PD. Weird how a show about continuously documenting the police would upset those who don't think the police are held responsible. Because they filed the police murdering someone and kept the video hidden from the public to protect the police. At first I misread this as Undercover Bees and thought, damn, I would watch the hell out of that show. Also, your idea is cool too. Jessica, which one do you choose, Brandon or Brian? I choose Brian. Oh sorry, Brian was really 10,000 bees in disguise. Not again. Here I am looking to find an A+ kinda guy and all the men I pick turn out to be bees. You'd probably be bored watching it and surprised at how awful people are. Yeah, people get the impression that cops are just non-stop action, either bashing minorities or getting in shootouts with the bad guys. Being a cop is a pretty boring job for the most part. I have an uncle that's a cop, and he basically hates the world. He gets called in to see people at their worst, which has changed his outlook on people. Anyone who works with the general public wouldn't be surprised. Sort of exists. It is called bodycam. Yes, but that only happens when they turn their body cameras on. Interestingly, a lot of racist cops seem to turn those body cams off when they're killing black folks. Actually, most of the time a police officer is not able to turn off a body cam while on duty. It still happens sometimes, either by modifying the camera or just being in a place where it isn't standard practice to lock them in that way, or in some cases purposely failing to charge it until the battery dies. So the system is definitely very far from perfect, but at least it's not quite as bad as some people think, slightly by just a little bit sort of. How would you feel about stopping whorish? How would you feel about insert popular concept? It's so transparent and people eat this shit up. I report it every time, since the question is arguably not open-ended. Yeah, I'd like that thing, and very minimal conversation bounces off that. You'd be really disappointed. There are shitty cops, but there's way more shitty people. I used to work with a police department and everyone I worked with loved their bodycams. It saved them a lot of time in court when people alleged they were racist or unprofessional in any way. They would just roll the tape and wait. Super true. Also 99.9% of police work is super boring, although you could say that about pretty much any job I suppose. Even when I was part of a super busy department, it was more like 96% boring or rudimentary bullshit. Lol. You really want to watch us deal with meth head James for the 5th time tonight? Everyone would be shocked at how scummy the average public is with the domestic violence, chronic drug use, aggravated assaults, hit and runs, how resisting arrest leads to bad things and how fighting with a cop is a losing proposition. THGE public would be totally shocked if they saw and understood the number of people shot by their fellow citizens in places like Chicago. The police have to deal with this scum knowing if they are the next to be shot. What really needs to be taught to the public is what the rules of engagement are for the police. If the public followed the same rules, 99.9% of the problems would be solved. Being a cop is about the shittiest job in the world. We need many more minority police also. This is the truth. If you created a robot cop that used nothing but analytics and data-driven pattern matching to handle crime, you would end up with a violent racist robot. Apply for job as police officer. Go through training. Rise through the ranks making changes along the way. Become chief. Ex-cops that have called out their peers have been fired before. In an ideal world this would work, but them again, in an ideal world we wouldn't have this problem. I still think that it's a good idea, but it's flawed as heck. IMO. Why we seriously need a proper whistleblower protection for the good cops who call out the bad ones. That way we can keep the good cops and clean out the bad. Whole damn system needs reformed from top to bottom. So Live PD. I was gonna say the same thing, but they got it cancelled. People wanted it off the air because it showed that cops aren't racist and all the shit they have to deal with. Even if it came back, people would be like, bias and they are only being nice cause they are on camera. Nothing is ever good enough. You don't think that show is manipulated by departments just because it's live. They pick the best officers that will make the department look good. Officers will be on their best behavior knowing it's on TV, plus there's a significant tape delay, so not really live. They can avoid showing serious misconduct if they want. My first thought. Still upset they took it off the air. So Live PD was once upon a time filmed in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and they quickly put a stop to that because, well, the results didn't make the cops always look great. You may enjoy 60 Days In. Not the exact thing you're talking about, but still good. That man Edit, and the snitch cop man that season was something else. But did you know is the enforcer for the Chicanos? I thought nobody could top Robert from S1 in pure entertainment, even though he was entertaining in a bad way. Even more realistic was a stunt by the famous illusionist Goblet. He infiltrated a prison by charming the warden and escaped by becoming seriously injured and sent to a hospital. Magic, yo. They had that. It was called Live PD. They cancelled it, but I loved the show to death. They cancelled every cop show when people decided cops were bad. Even Fucky Chase from Paw Patrol. Yep, they killed my precious Brooklyn 99. Journalists last summer went bonkers trying to call Paw Patrol the worst thing since the Third Reich. All because it has a character who is a cop. https www.vulture.com/2020/07 https medium.com/s/story https www.cnn.com/2017/12/22/health. Some people want to be miserable. Because showing any cops in a positive light became a big no-number. Live PD recorded a cop murdering someone and helped them cover it up. If that isn't a fucking no-no to you, rethink your life. Removed. Shut the fuck up with this bullshit virtue signaling. Dipshit. This is the kind of society that evolves from people who mostly live their lives through the internet and not in reality. The funny thing is that many of these type of people make fun of the boomers for believing everything they see on the news. Those watching in hopes of feeling vindicated in their belief of cops being rotten would instead get a harsh awakening of how rotten their neighbors are instead. More nurses secretly kill people than cops. I would definitely watch it, but realistically it would never happen, and the undercover officer would have a pretty hard time being a convincing officer and staying out of danger. There is a book called You Jack by Ted Coover where he goes to work as a guard in Sing Sing prison. Not exactly policing, but an interesting read. I feel like I've enough with this kind of r/Askreddit posts, and I've no bloody clue why anyone would continue to upvote such low effort Reddit bait crap. Because blue man bad and Murik are bad. Get ungodly amounts of upvotees on this shithole of a website. Yeah, it's honestly getting so fucking old. The disconnect from reality on this site is so terrifying to see sometimes. Contact your local department and go on a ride along, or several. I've been on 4. See it yourself.